Tony Stark Iron Man issue 18 sees the news of New York City report on the robot-human hybrids rampaging through the city, taking people to the ultimate makeover spa. War Machine manages to save a news reporter, telling her to get off the streets as Ultron surveys the birth of his new race. At Stark Unlimited, Jocasta wonders why they aren't separating Stark from his new armor now, but Andy says that Tony's situation is a bit more complex than Jarvis's. Dr. Shapiro says that his procedure also split Wonder Man and Vision, so it definitely works. However, Jocasta becomes frustrated, wanting them to actually do something for Tony. Her systems soon begin to fail as Vision and Wonder Man head out to stop Ultron. Tony says he needs to go and help Janet, but Shapiro offers him a nano Iron Man, telling Tony to swallow it. As Aaron pulls himself out of Avenger's mansion, he finds some of the machines that Rhodey killed, wondering what exactly happened. War Machine meanwhile blasts his way through the monsters, telling Janet he's doing his best to get through the panic attack he's having. Ultron attacks War Machine, who unleashes his cannons on the villain, but Ultron isn't impressed, saying he's far stronger than any of his offspring. Suddenly Vision and Wonder Man attack, angering Ultron, who isn't happy that they have undone his glorious work. The heroes hold Ultron down and Vision tells Janet to go and help Tony since they can handle Ultron. As Janet flies off, Ultron fires a small projectile after her, as back in the lab, Andy reboots Jocasta into Friday's body. Jocasta finds this obscene and wonders if he would upload Tony into a corpse, and Andy says he would if it meant saving Tony Stark. Tony meanwhile mentally pilots the nano Iron Man through his own fused body, finding even less of him is human than he thought. He learns from Shapiro that they will separate him using ionic energy tag, and Tony will tag what is his and what isn't. Tony becomes distracted that his life is in the paws of a cat, but Janet calms him, saying that she's coming in to help. Janet shrinks and is injected into Tony, as intruder alarms begin ringing out as the thing Ultron fired off arrives, flying into Tony's neck. The projectile turned out to be an Ultron bot, who says that he is there as a friend since he gave Tony the greatest gift of all and he can't let them undo his work. Janet tells Tony to keep tagging while she fights Ultron, who says that Janet is a threat to Tony, discharging energy like she is inside of him. Shapiro says that Tony needs to get his body to make antibodies to help Janet, who is grabbed by Ultron, who reveals that Janet's plan on keeping him busy in there isn't really helping Wonder Man or Vision, whom out in Manhattan he is also beaten. Tony comes for Ultron, trying to get Hank to look at what he's doing and how the fusion is killing him, but Ultron says that it's because he's fighting the process that it's killing him. Tony says that he will never be like Ultron and he's getting the artificial junk out of his system since he knows what really matters and what makes him him. Tony, however, sees one of his blood cells is barcoded with a Maria Stark Foundation serial number. At Banetronics, Arno finishes his first test of human clones, successfully resurrecting his parents. Sunset thinks it's a little too late since Arno is already quite messed up in the head and they are both legally dead, but Arno knows that they have all his parents' memories and thoughts, so they will have useful information, and since this is the same way Tony was resurrected, they can absolutely reclaim their fortune. Janet meanwhile tries to snap Tony out of whatever he saw as he tags Janet, getting Shapiro to start the transfer, but there is still 3% of him he hasn't tagged. Tony doesn't care as the process begins, ripping him from the armor. Janet returns to Bethany, telling her that Tony tagged her and she got out before the transformation happened, but so did Ultron, who has killed the nano Iron Man as well before heading back towards Tony's head like a bullet. Jocasta, however, catches the mini Ultron, crushing the monologue villain between her fingers as Tony is reverted back to his human self. With no time left to rest, Tony needs to stop Ultron and he needs an armor. Going to the Hall of Armors, Andy says that the armors don't have a functional AI, but Tony says he doesn't need one, since all his suit needs is him as he dresses in his golden Avenger armor, knowing all he needs to beat Ultron is an echo of Tony Stark, since in this fight it's what makes him invincible. Tony Stark Iron Man issue 18 continues the exciting event as we take a trip into Tony Stark's body. I have really loved Tony grappling with the fact that he isn't the real Tony Stark, and this issue sealed the deal that he is indeed not the real one. He's an artificial being created when the original Tony died. So it's a super interesting way to take the character, and I'm intrigued to see what they'll do with it. The event in the series ends next issue, so I'm looking forward to where the series leaves off Tony Stark, not just as a character but as a person, as what he is. Do they go with the artificial being? Do they make him an actual being? Really intrigued to see where they'll go with that. I'm going to give this issue an 8.5 out of 10.